Hey, how's it going, guys? MrBossFTW here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the debate of Ill-Gotten Gains Part 1 versus Ill-Gotten Gains Part 2. That's right, since we are officially done with the Ill-Gotten Gains saga, I want to talk about which DLC you guys liked best. This is going to be a straight-up discussion video, so I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below, and today, I'm just going to be running through kind of all the elements of each DLC and talking about some of the pros and cons of each one, and also which one I preferred. Now, once again, there is no wrong answer. Everything here is subjective. It is completely your own opinion, whether you like Part 1 or some elements of Part 2 and some elements of Part 1. And I really do want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below on what you guys are thinking. So without the way, let's get started. So I guess since we're in the clothing store right now, we might as well talk about clothing. And honestly, I really did like the clothing from Part 1 just a little bit better. I felt like there was a few more things added. There wasn't so much repetition. I feel like Part 2 had a ton of repetition, especially in the jewelry, like in the chains and the glasses and even the watches. There was a lot of it, but it pretty much overlapped. It was like gold, silver, platinum of the exact same thing, rose gold. So there wasn't a lot of variation. And Part 1 had a bunch of brand new stuff that we had never seen before. So in Part 2, that luster and that shine had kind of worn off just a tiny bit. Now let's move on to prices. There is no doubt that the Ill-Gotten Gains Part 1 was more expensive than the Ill-Gotten Gains Part 2, but that is primarily because of the two Pegasus vehicles that you could purchase from the Elitist Travel website, that being the Luxor Deluxe and the Swift Deluxe, taking up $15 million of your GTA Online money. So if you exclude those, the DLCs were kind of relatively similarly priced. Ill-Gotten Gains Part 2 had an expensive vehicle in and of itself. It had the Lampadeti Toro, which was that expensive boat that I actually did in my Buyer Beware series, and I said it really wasn't worth it to buy. There were other boats that could do almost the exact same thing as that one at a much cheaper rate. But overall, the vehicles were relatively similarly priced, and I also liked both of the vehicles. There were some that I liked from Part 1, like I think the Benefactor Sterling GT is one of the best vehicles we've gotten of all time. That car is so fast, and for a sports classic, it's absolutely amazing. I obviously love the two supercars in the Osiris and the Progen T20, but there are also some that I didn't like from Part 1 and Part 2. In Part 1, I didn't particularly care for the Windsor. That thing was so chunky and so slow, and even though it's got the really cool liveries or liveries that you could apply on the outside, it really just didn't fit my bill. And the Vappuccino and the Dinka Vindicator from Part 2 weren't exactly my cup of tea either. Some people might love them, but for me, they just weren't my thing. I guess moving on to weapons in the update, if we're strictly going by quantity, Part 2 is going to have an advantage right there with the Knuckle Duster and the Marksman Pistol. However, Part 1 had a pretty cool weapon in and of itself, that being the PDW. So it really just depends on what weapon you kind of want in your arsenal. If you like the submachine gun or assault rifle style, Part 1 might have been your thing. But if you like the uniqueness and variety that you get from the Knuckle Dusters in Part 2, and also the one-shot, one-kill Marksman Pistol, you might prefer the weapons in Part 2. So overall, I thought both of the DLCs were really, really good. I think probably the biggest downfall for both of them were two things. One, they were extremely cookie cutter, and that's not to be like a negative insult towards Rockstar, but it's the same style they've been doing for a while. You know, 2 to 3 to 4 new cars, 2 or 3 new weapons, lots of clothing, a few different things here and there like tattoos, and they were both really expensive, which was kind of the downfall of Part 1, less so than it was Part 2, but nevertheless, these DLCs were very, very, very pricey. In fact, Part 2 brought the most expensive supercar in the game we know is the Progen T20. So pros and cons of both DLCs. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below on what you think. Let me know if you preferred Part 1, and let me know if you preferred Part 2, and also maybe explain some reasonings. Which part of Part 1 did you like? Which part of Part 2 did you like? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. Once again, if you did go on to enjoy the video, a like rating would be awesome, but more importantly, hit that red button below this video. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel and catch all the daily GTA 5 content that I'm going to be doing. Without the way, guys, like I said, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.